Alright, so back here on the 1978 Toyota pickup and working on getting the intake buttoned up. And as part of that, it's getting all of the vacuum and coolant lines and everything that are running off of it either replaced or tuned up or whatever. So I had the intake and injectors on there for a bit, and you can see already, some of the new lines. Um, the idle air control, that has a coolant running in and out of it, but I don't want that, so I just capped those ones off. It will take a new air intake piece there that will have to get mounted over, so I do need to make that new one. You can see this spaghetti nonsense of crap that is just all over the place, and there are ports all over the intake. I'm gonna try to simplify that as much as possible because all of the things that were running off of the stock engine are not really relevant anymore. So as far as things that I'm working on here, so this is the inlet valve that would have gone over to the idle air control valve that you saw, and then that exits it, come back down, and then it would enter the throttle body, and then it would exit and then go into the head. And so this is feed from the water pump, and then this is the return that will end up going through the head. And so instead of capping this and leaving that open, I just allow that water flow that would have gone through all of these other pieces to go back to where it was. And so, some folks will plug that off, cut that off, but I'm going to let that flow go through. I don't know exactly what long-term plans are for things, and so I'm not going to modify this piece quite yet in order to cap those sort of things off. So in effect, this is just bypassing the idle air control and the throttle body in order to keep that flow going. The same sort of story is happening over here. This is where your heater core inlet would be, and then it would go inside of the HVAC system, come back out, and then that's the return. And so on day one, I don't think that I'll have HVAC when I'm just sort of shaking stuff down. And so same thing here, I'll just cap that and put that in. And so the other one that's going on, so this is like, the stock oil cooler. And so you're getting fresh water coming through here into the sandwich plate, and then it returns back into the block. And so this is the stock oil cooler. And again, I'm going to leave this alone for now. We'll see how all this stuff works out for me and my needs. I think, a lot of folks will remove the stock system and hook in, just a sandwich plate and remove all of this stuff and then run that into an external oil cooler. I'm not going to get into that yet because I'm already going to have fitment issues that I'm going to have to address for the radiator and the intercooler, and making room for an oil cooler. I'm not going to deal with that problem right now. But I do want to replace the lines because they are, old and crusty. And so, it has some flex to it still. It's not super terrible, but since I got it taken apart, I figure I'll just go ahead and replace these while I have that intake off and everything, because I have so good access right now. So you can see it's a pre-bent unit, and if I just tried to bend this, I'd get a crease in here and it'd really mess up the flow. And so I do want to get some semblance of bend, similar to this, but I don't want to compromise the flow. And so what you can do is make up a bunch of different sized wire that you could just throw into a drill bit and a vise and spin it up, and then you could just make up the different thicknesses that you need based on how much wire and how many times you wrap it up. And so this is the one that I'll use. I'll put a little bit of lube on it just to make it easier to slide it in, and then also when this is all bent up, it'll help just allow it to slide out. This is just regular wire lube. You know, if you do electrical work, you know what that is. But you could use whatever you want. Doesn't Dawn soap or whatever you want. And so this slides in here, and what that allows is it'll fill in that space while it's getting bent to where it won't kink. And so we come over here, and see that's a 90 right here. And so what I do is I just put my thumb where that needs to be and just bend that down into a 90 and get that going, and then put some heat to it in order to relax that heater hose. And this takes a little while, so you know, I'm just recording this live, and so the video will be kind of longish. Fast forward if you don't want to see this crap. That's up to you. And as you heat it up, it'll be easier to bend. And you want to go past whatever angle you're trying to shoot for. So if you're shooting for a 90, you know, you really want to get this to like almost 180, honestly. It rebounds a ton. We're just trying to get that rubber to relax into that position. Alright, then just dunk it into some cold water. All right. Now you can see it looks like it's a little bit past 90 right now, and I was squeezing it down, and you know, it's already relaxed out a little bit, but it's actually will end up relaxing a bit more when this gets taken out of it. So the copper is sort of holding it down right now, and so it'll actually, you know, open up a little bit more. So you do have to shoot past. Then now you just take your piece, kind of roughly line that up, and then you see down here it sort of has like another little bend going out this direction. And so same thing here, just get a bend on it. And this one was not quite to 90, and so I'm basically holding it at 90 now, knowing that again it's going to rebound back. How'd you burn yourself? Right. All right. Okay, now you probably noticed that I cut that way longer, and that's on purpose. So then I'll have a little bit of extra room here at the bottom that when I fit it over there, we'll see how that ends up working out. So with the lube in there, hopefully you should just be able to pull this out pretty easily. And that's our piece. And then, so now you kind of need to figure out which way is going to run the best. And in this case, it's going to work the best like this. And so now I can fit that piece in and fit that one in. And when I've got to cut that down a little bit, so you can see here that I got that bend pretty good. This one might have to redo to move it a little bit further back in order to get it to come in just a little bit smoother. It's a little bit long right here, and so I'll have to bend it back down to get it more like that. So again, I cut that long on purpose in order to give myself that little bit of lee room in there. But yeah, I mean, that should work out fine after I get that little bit of bend in there. But you can see it is, holding the shape that it had, that little S shape in there. It's relaxed a ton. And so you can see, like, I had this one bent like past 90, and now it's just basically at 90. And so a little bit of fiddling in order to get that trued up, but, not too bad. All right, thanks. See you in the next one.